Yeah, well, I think that could have been an interesting love triangle. You know, if you had
Her
him
best
going,
friend, though?
oh yeah, that creates drama. That's the whole. That's
Yeah,
what
but would
these.
you trust your best friend after that?
No, probably not.
Right.
But that would create a great sitcom.
Welcome to our podcast, everyone.
Hello and welcome,
We're excited to be here. We are your hosts, Amanda
Joseph.
and we are a married couple, and we are big fans of The Nanny, and we can't wait to go through the one and only The Nanny TV show series.
Yeah, sitcom. Enjoyed it. Love it.
We
Here we
love
go.
it. Here we go. So I think I started watching The Nanny actually when I was in college. I think I remember seeing like a couple episodes when maybe I was a very small girl, but I got hooked on it in college, and then I loved it so much I had to share it all with you a few years ago. But I know you've seen it before a little bit, right?
I saw a couple episodes, but I didn't see the whole series. And meeting you, you made me watch the whole series, and then I ended up
I
actually
made
really
him.
enjoying it.
I made him.
Yes, but it
That's strong language.
it was nice that you did.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm happy you enjoyed it. And this is one of our favorite shows now. So that's why we're excited about having a whole podcast dedicated to it. And our podcast is called A Fine Podcast after Miss Fran Fine herself.
Absolutely. A fine podcast.
That's right. So we want to just make mention that we do have social media accounts now. So you can follow us at A Fine Podcast on all these different social media accounts. We have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have YouTube, of course, because we are doing this also as a video podcast. So anyone out there listening that isn't watching the video, feel free to tune in on YouTube as well if you want to see us interact and talk about The Nanny. And also we have X, which was Twitter. And that one is _fine podcast.
Yes, because the other one was taken.
That's right. We're sad. So follow us on all of those different accounts, and we'd be happy to have you there. And we plan on interacting with all of you there and hearing a little bit from you about what you want to see or hear us talk about as we go through all the episodes of the series.
Yeah, we'd love for you to follow along with us on this journey.
Absolutely. So, a few fun facts to start us off. Did you know that The Nanny was filmed 30 years ago at this point?
No, I did not.
The big 30. So that is a long time ago. It aired in November of 1993.
Wow, I was not born yet.
Just 1 year shy of being born for you.
Yeah,
And I was 2 at the time. So it's been a while.
yeah. This show is older than me.
Yes. But it's still iconic, even though it is aged. So
It's aged like fine wine.
that's very true. So something else fun is Fran was very passionate about making the show as true to her real life as possible. So we know Sylvia and Morty are her parents in the show, but those are also her parents' names in real life.
Yeah, not the actors, just the names themselves. But that's pretty cool. So she's really trying to add a personal touch to this.
What else do we want to know? We know that the pilot was kind of cheap here, so it cost $25,000 to make the pilot, but they didn't know if it was going to make it or not. So I think that's understandable that they borrowed a couple sets and threw the thing together and pitched it to CBS and just saw what happened from that. And CBS thought it was a hit. So then they started changing a whole bunch of things around, from what the Sheffield house looks like to all the different scenery that we see later on in the seasons from the pilot.
Yeah, it would be fun to be able to see how the scene changes or the set changes throughout the series, and see all the different changes that they made and how they adapted. And yeah, it was a good thing that this thing kicked off. So they were able to explore all those options.
Let's not waste any time. Let's go right into the first scene, which takes place at the bridal shop that Danny, we see, is the manager of. And we see Val for the first time here too. So we see Fran, Val, and they're working together in the bridal shop. And they're helping a woman get into a wedding dress who is pregnant and having some morning sickness.
Yes, she looks like a virgin,
Just like a virgin.
according to Fran.
And the crackers really help with the morning sickness, I hear. So
Oh, did you not try that?
No, I think I was just too busy being sick and nothing helped. But
Oh,
if crackers have helped your morning sickness, please let us know. Write into us. Tell us about that. If it
yeah,
actually worked or if nothing worked,
yeah.
like me. So we're at the bridal shop and we figure out that Danny has been pre-engaged to Fran for 3 years now. And what do you think of a pre-engagement?
Yeah, I mean, this is weird because normally, if you're engaged, right, you're going to be married. A pre-engagement, I would think, is just dating. So, what is the difference between dating and a pre-engagement? I'm not really sure. Maybe it's just some fluff that he was trying to add to keep
Mm-hmm.
her engaged. Maybe.
Yep, I think so. I think that's what you call it when you've been dating for a really long time and the woman starts to really feel the urge to get engaged and you say you're not ready, but pre-engaged. So, do you think that'll keep a lot of people interested if their boyfriend were to stay pre-engaged to them for years?
Yeah, I don't know. I should have tried that on you.
I am really glad you didn't. That would have been sad. So they're pre engaged. We can already tell there's some drama in this relationship, but he doesn't waste any time after that in saying to Fran that, you know what, he found somebody else and her name's Heather Biblo. And I think it's Heather is somebody who Val and Fran went to high school with too. So they know who this is. And he said, I found her. So we're over. But not only are we over, Heather needs a job at the bridal shop. So
Yeah.
you're fired.
Heather Biblo.
Heather Biblo needs a job.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's a double whammy for Fran. That's a shame.
Double whammy.
I'd hate to lose my job and my lover, or my so thought to be lover, in the
All
same day,
at once.
the same minute, really, the same second.
Very quick.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is tough. So
And in front of your best friend, too. You get fired and dumped. Pretty
yeah,
sad.
maybe they can offer quick support though, instead of you having to go run to your friends.
It's true.
They're right there in
It's
the
true.
act.
At least Val got to witness what a jerk Danny was in this scene.
Yeah, that's true. No, no words having to be taken. Just pure raw action right there.
That's right. So he says it's over and you're fired. And then she says, you know what? I quit. And then she slams the door and then she opens the door back up and says, nope, you fired me. This way I can collect unemployment.
Yeah, get that free unemployment money.
Yeah. What'd you think about that? That was pretty smart to remember that in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want free money?
Very true. Very true. So,
Well, unemployment money, I should say. But
not free, but unemployment money. So, I thought this was interesting the way the whole scene played out. But originally, as it was written, Danny dumped Fran for Val, which I think would have been entirely too weird. What do you think?
yeah, well, I think that could have been an interesting love triangle. If you had
Her
him
best
going.
friend, though?
Well, yeah, that creates drama. That's the whole. That's
Yeah,
what
but
these.
would you trust your best friend after that?
Well, no, probably not.
Right.
But that would create a great sitcom.
It's true. It would create a lot of good drama, but I just don't know how you would be on a good level with your friend again after that.
Well, yeah, it'd probably be pretty difficult to get to the same level. But think about all
It'd
the
be really
arguing
difficult.
and yeah,
Oh, the fun, the entertainment, the drama.
the arguing, the forbidden romance.
Wow.
They could make a spin-off of it.
They could.
Yeah, I think that could be pretty exciting.
So, do you vote that they should have kept the original script?
I think it could have made an interesting dynamic. I don't know.
That's
I mean,
for sure.
the original, or I guess the secondary, has played off very well, but their heads were in the right place
It's true.
in the first take. So
It's true. So, this is where the scene ends. And then we go into the iconic song introduction, where we see cartoon Fran and we see cartoon Sheffield and we see everybody dancing around the house and kind of just reenacting everything that happens in the first episode in that song introduction. that we get to see every time. What do you think about it being a cartoon and fun like that?
Yeah, I thought this was pretty cool. I mean, it was fun. I haven't seen a TV show that's done where the first episode is kind of the whole plot of the theme song or the little the theme song that they play. So that was kind of cool, but it also kind of gives the at the same time kind of an overarching view of the whole show in itself. And I think the cartoon kind of plays to Fran's fun, lightful playfulness kind of throughout the series and her character. So yeah, I thought that was a nice tone. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too, especially when I learned that it used to be just Fran getting ready for her job as the nanny, putting on makeup in a white backdrop. That was the whole introduction. I don't think it would have been as iconic if they would have kept that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think the way they did it ended up being the best way.
Yeah, for sure. Something I noticed in the introduction is that Danny puts actually a help wanted sign outside of the bridal shop. Cartoon Danny does. And why do you think he puts a help wanted sign if he just fired Fran and then immediately replaced her? How does he want help then? Do
Yeah.
you think that was a mistake of the people drawing the cartoon?
No, I think that's absolutely perfect. I mean, why would maybe his business is booming? Maybe he needs more work.
Booming.
Yeah. He needs more employees. He wants to
More employees and he should hire Fran back.
Yeah, but come on now. I mean, you want your ex lover, ex spouse, or not spouse, but just ex person to
Pre-spouse.
yeah, a pre-engagement person to work for you while your current
No.
girlfriend is there.
No, I don't. But still, I don't think that was right.
Yeah, I mean, I yeah,
You just think his business was booming like crazy, so he had to do that. Which is an interesting take because I don't think a lot of people would say that.
no, I think that yeah.
Look at you thinking outside the box.
Well, maybe other people, maybe there are a majority. We'll have to find out.
Have to find out.
Yeah.
So this song I think is iconic. Love it so much. So the introduction ends and then we see Fran. She is now a cold saleswoman. She has a pink briefcase and she works for a cosmetics company and she's going door to door selling makeup now that she's fired from her bridal shop. Which I believe this to be kind of one of those jobs where it's entirely based off of commission. So she's just trying to hype herself up before she gets to each house in hopes of like making a sale. Do you think that's kind of what her new job is like?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like I'd say like a little mini entrepreneur or whatnot. I mean, she's probably obviously working through some fashion company where she gets the commission if she makes the sale, but it's not like her own product line of beauty products. So,
Yep.
But no, I mean, obviously she's got to make ends meet somewhere. So this is what she's trying to do now.
Yep. So here she is. And I think personally, she has the best personality for something like this because not a lot of people have the confidence to just go in cold and try to sell a product everywhere. So I think if she would have stuck with this, she probably would have made a lot of great deals just based off of her personality alone.
Yeah, I mean, she's got that saleswoman mentality. We'll see. And yeah, I think she could have done this, but I think in the end,
Worked out better for sure.
the nanny was the sweeter gig.
For sure. So she knocks on the Sheffield residence door, and this is where we see Niles for the first time. He greets her at the door and asks if she's there for the nanny position, to which she takes one look around inside the house and she says, well, I can be. And that's how she kind of works herself into the house. And he then asks for her resume to present to Mr. Sheffield, who is hiring for a nanny. And she says, just go get him and I will do my own resume presenting. What'd you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's her being quick on her feet. Maybe she sees this as another opportunity. She wants to go ahead and take advantage of this.
Pretty bold.
Kind of hit two fronts at the same time. Either try the the beauty stuff. If that doesn't work, then she can take this role of the nanny as well, or well, she just do one or the other. So
That's true.
yeah,
Yep. So Niles leaves and goes to get Mr. Sheffield. And this is when we see Maxwell Sheffield for the first time and his office. And we see Cece for the first time too. So we have Maxwell and Cece who both work to produce plays. And they are going through their list of actors. And what did you think about that scene when they were talking about all the actors?
yeah. So they're listing all these actors. They mention a couple people. They say they passed. One of them says passed away, and so one of them obviously seems to have be dead already. I don't know what the other pasts mean. I guess they just skipped the role or something.
Yeah, I think they're just absolutely not interested. So two have passed, and then one has even passed away, which maybe they're just so desperate they're going through deceased people by accident at this point. They're just really looking for some people for this role and struggling.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're trying to get this Broadway show off the road, and you need actors.
You do.
If actors aren't there, there's no show.
It's true.
The show can't go on.
It's very true. So we see Cece, and she already we can tell she has a crush on Maxwell, and she's offering to give him a shiatsu because he looks really stressed out. What do you think about that move? Like your business associate giving the man in charge a massage?
Yeah, I mean, we see here she's got a crush on him, and she's trying to kind of butter him up, maybe make him have the feels for her. And she is thinking this can be one little maneuver into her ultimate plan of winning Maxwell Sheffield.
Absolutely. So something I notice is she's really into Max in this scene, but she does make a comment about his kids, and it's not too much of a positive comment. So they're talking back and forth about this big business party that they're hosting at Maxwell's house this weekend, which is why he needs a nanny so desperately bad, because he needs someone to watch his kids this weekend in particular, to take care of the kids while he's hosting a wonderful party in his living room. But Cece then says, "Oh my goodness, did you find a nanny? Because the kids just can't be running around everywhere." And then she quickly corrects herself and she pretends to like them after that. But you can tell already she's not too fond of them.
Yeah, I mean, she's a pretty big businesswoman. She doesn't want kids or even have to entertain kids, so she's not the kid friendly person.
Not a kid friendly person.
No, but this is also too where we meet Niles and Cece having their what we'll find out to be their kind of banter throughout the series, where Cece talks about Broadway being a passion of hers, and Niles says, "This I can't wait to see what you'll be mounting next." Where this is obviously a dig at Cece for enjoying passion or Broadway. But maybe this is because she likes Broadway in the first place because she likes Maxwell. So that's what she's trying to do. That's the first step. So, but Niles is making a stab at this because maybe he sees that she's maybe not really interested in it. She's just more just interested in him. But I don't know. Saying what you'll be mounting next from Broadway's always been a passion of mine is, I don't know, this was a stretch for me. I don't think this was a great comeback.
I think the digs get better and better as we move on, though. But you're right. It's the first one.
Yeah.
So we'll let it slide.
This one fell flat.
Wow. Completely flat?
Yeah, I wasn't impressed with it.
I can't wait to see what you'll be mounting next.
Yes. That was not impressive.
Some fun facts about Sheffield, Maxwell Sheffield. His name was Maxwell Sherfield in the original script, which is weird. Shur Field. So I don't know if I would have liked that very much. And also, Niles was Edmund. I don't know if that would have worked out well for his character.
Yeah. No, that would have been. I don't know. I don't think What was it?
Sherfield.
Sherfield
Or Sherfeld.
Sherfeld. That doesn't roll off the tongue well. Sheffield is much better.
I like Sheffield.
And then Edmund.
Well, he was a chauffeur, so I don't even know if he was like a true butler like Niles is.
Yeah, no, Niles. Niles is a much better name. And sorry for the Edmonds, but I like the Niles a little bit better. And Niles,
Edmund's still a great name. It just doesn't fit. Niles.
Niles just feels better. Maybe just because that's what it was. Maybe if it was Edmund, I would have said Edmund over Niles. But
true, it's like what we're used to. So can we give accurate opinions on that? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I might be slightly biased, but
maybe slightly,
just a little.
And one more thing too. So we get to know that Maxwell has 3 kids: Maggie, Brighton, and Gracie. And in the original script, he only had 2 kids. So they only had Brighton and Gracie. And then they later on added Maggie, which I'm happy they did. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she plays a pretty big role throughout this whole thing. So.
She does.
She lucked out.
Yep.
It was good she was there.
It is good.
I think this was also too, right? I think we saw something where Fran mentioned she wanted to have 3 kids. Or no, she wanted to have 2 kids originally. And their names were going to be Brighton and Gracie with her former
in real
husband.
life.
Yes.
Real life Fran. Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which was where they got the 2 kids, but then they wanted to add 1 more.
That's right.
Yeah.
Still being true to her life. That's what she did.
Yeah, it was really interesting having all the aspects. But she tweaked it up a little bit there.
Yep.
She went spicy.
There we go.
A little jalapeno on the mix.
Yes. So Maxwell comes in, asks Fran for her resume. This is where the 2 of them meet for the first time. And then he starts to look over it, and he realizes that she wrote her resume in lipstick, and he asks her, "Did you write this in crayon?" And she corrects him and says lipstick. And what did you think about her taking out her lipstick to write her resume for the first time, since she didn't have one?
Yeah, I mean, she has nothing else.
No pen.
Right.
She asked Brighton for a pen, which let's go back to Brighton's entry here. He fake stabs himself. It looks like he has like fake blood on himself and he faints to the ground, but Fran isn't fazed by that at all.
Yeah, we've got little suicidal Brighton over here, but no, he's just playing around. But he thinks this might scare off the nanny, as all the other nannies have been terrified by this. But since Fran is the unconventional nanny here, she is not fazed at all by it. So she just asks him for a pen, doesn't even recognize that he's playing dead. And
or he could be hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, he could have been. She didn't care.
Maybe
she wasn't a good nanny then.
No. I think she could just see through him. She's wise to the behavior.
Yeah.
So that's what happened right before Maxwell walked in. But now he's looking over her resume and he sees it's in lipstick. He's probably struggling to read it, but he does make out some of her references, and he asks her if she has the Queen Mother as a reference. And she says,
"No, that's my mother from Queens."
What do you think about putting mom on your resume as a reference?
It seems like she's pretty lacking in the workforce of coworkers. Doesn't have many previous coworkers.
I'd probably put Val.
Yeah, that's true. I guess Val could have been on it.
But maybe it was just her ability to be so bold. That's why she put her mom. Because nobody really does that I know of.
Could have just been first instinct as well, because she has to come up with this resume on the spot.
True.
And that was the first person she thought of, so that could also be it.
True.
But no, yeah, I can't say I've tried to ever had my mom on my recommendations. Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom. Maybe we'll try that. Maybe that's the new life hack, to put your mom as your first reference on your resumes.
I'll try that for my next job.
Well, report back to us and tell us if that works out for you and if they actually call your mother.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting test.
Yes. So this is probably the moment where she expresses the most finesse that we see. So we actually have a couple different themes that we'll be doing every episode. And our first theme is called Fran Finds Finesse.
Yeah, here it is.
Fran finds finesse.
So an awesome moment here. Fran Fine using her finesse to create a resume from scratch and makeup.
Yeah, she's turned into trying to apply for this job and coming up with a resume on the spot. So a lot of different clever moments by her. So hats off to her.
Hats off to you, Fran.
Yeah.
So we see Maggie come in and she is kind of quiet. meek little personality, it seems. She's just waiting to blossom. And we see that Brighton is bold already, but we also see Gracie, and she has a lot of psychological problems so far.
Yeah, I mean, this multiple personalities thing and has lots of crazy problems, I guess, for a 4-year-old. That's, I don't know. That's,
It's a little crazy.
I feel bad for Max.
It's a lot going on. She's seeing a psychiatrist. She needs therapy already.
Yeah, that's a lot to deal with.
So he even mentions it's a lot to deal with. And he says, you know what, Fran, I need more than a cosmetic girl, door-to-door saleswoman. I think you should leave now. And this is kind of sad because he's just asking Fran to leave, not giving her the chance that she so deserves after being bold. But that changes here because the phone rings and Max is yelling for Niles to answer the phone, and he's nowhere to be found. And he keeps saying, Niles, Niles, phone, because he can't answer the phone for some reason. And because he pays people to answer the phone, I guess. And maybe it's like technically correct. And then Fran goes, you know what? Forget it. Let me answer the phone. And she picks it up and she feels very comfortable saying Sheffield residence. And what do you think about that? Her picking up the phone in his house.
Well, first, if I had a butler, he'd be answering my phones for me.
Oh. You wouldn't pick up the phone even if you were right near it?
No, I would probably pick it up.
Yeah, I think I would pick it up.
No, I mean, she's trying to sit here and take action and start showing off her skills and how she can be the nanny and even fill in for picking up the phone, even though it's not a primary responsibility of hers, but she could do that.
It's pretty great. So she does that. She tells him it's the nanny agency calling, and he says, thank you, and ushers her out the door. And the nanny agency says that they do not have any availability for this weekend, which worries Max, and Fran is still standing in the door waving. So he looks hesitant, but asks her if she has any experience with children, to which she says her experience is watching her sister's 2 kids while she was off suing her chiropodist.
Yeah. And this word here, the chiropodist, was interesting. We know what a chiropractor. I've never heard chiropodist before, but I mean, a chiropractor is someone who cracks bones. So we've got that, and then we've got the podist, which is podiatry, so something with feet. So
Foot doctor.
yeah, but that's just a podiatrist.
So why didn't they say podiatrist?
Because they said chiropodist, which is a
Chiropodist.
person who cracks feet.
It's true.
They're a foot cracker.
A foot cracker.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, she was suing that person, and that was all of her experience with children. But then Maxwell says, you know what? We'll give you a try on a trial basis. You can come here and be the nanny. And then he says that Niles will show her to her room, to which she's surprised about living there, but very happy about it. And she says, oh, yeah, sure. I'm going to miss being 29 living at home with my parents. And then Niles kind of slyly says 29.
Yeah, this is here we're starting to see or what we will see is the friendship between Niles and Fran, that the connection that they'll have through the series. And
they're already cool with each other at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. This is nice to see. It's kind of a warming moment, so it was good.
Yeah, I liked it. So now let's move into the next scene where they're in the Sheffield kitchen, and Fran comes down in a bright bathrobe, and everybody else is just dressed really professionally for just an average breakfast in a household. What do you think about everybody's like attire as they were around the kitchen table? Did Fran have it right, or did the Sheffield family have the attire right?
I think the Sheffield family, a bright suit, proper dresses. They were prim and proper.
Would you dress that way for your average breakfast?
Probably not.
I like the robe.
He's raising discipline. Well, it shows you show here the contrasting characters. You have a very disciplined man versus the laid back, fun, frivolous Fran.
It's true.
And that's where these different worlds kind of clash together.
That's true. So she's not afraid to be herself, but she does tell Niles, you could tell me that there was a dress code next time, or you could have told me that. So her first stop is at the buffet, and she just says, "Oh, I love a good buffet," and she starts piling food on her plate like crazy. And Niles says to her, "It's free, Miss Fine. You can go back." And she's just not used to eating this way.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is also kind of the different lifestyles. I mean, she's had more of a what seems to be a little more lower lifestyle, not so high class, fine dining, pinky raised luxury style. So this is kind of a new thing for her that she's learning to enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. So she asks where the previous nannies have taken a seat before, and she's told that they usually sit away from the family in the kitchen. And she says that's nonsense. And she pulls up a chair right at the family table to fit right in with the family, which I think is a whole lot more personable than just sitting in the kitchen all prim and proper away from everybody.
Yeah, well, that's just too, I think, showing she has no knowledge of what a nanny's role was or what the traditional role is. She's this non-conventional, doing whatever she thinks is kind of the best way to see it, which I think more is basically more as a mother than a nanny. It's how she
Yes.
sees everything. So yeah, we're starting to kind of see this unfold for her. So
Yes. So they start talking about the party that's going to happen, the business party, and she asks the kids what they're going to wear to the business party, to which they say that they're not invited to it. And she says, "Oh, nonsense. Of course you're invited. Your father's throwing the party." So she's like totally misunderstanding how the household goes here, where the kids are not invited at all to any of his business affairs. So, but that's not stopping her because she's about to go help them get dressed for the big party that she assumes all of them are going to.
yeah, she basically is going to take no for an answer or not take no for an answer and have them show up anyway.
Yep. So Maxwell leaves the table very early, though, I want to mention, because he gets a phone call from Cece.
Yes.
Yes. And what does Niles say?
She loves to be taken to the library.
Cece loves to be taken into the library.
Yes. Our second burn by Niles of this episode.
That's right.
This one was a little more fitting, I thought.
I like this one a whole lot better than the mounting one.
Yeah.
For sure.
It went better. We're going up. We're going up and taking up on the burns of Niles.
In this scene, Brighton refers to Gracie as Sybil. Do you know who Sybil is? Because I didn't really.
No, I do not know.
So when you look up Sybil, Sybil is a young woman whose childhood was so harrowing to her that she had 16 different personalities, and she had to be treated by a doctor.
Oh, well, this is perfectly fitting for Gracie then.
16 personalities.
Gracie looks like she has about 10 at least.
Wow. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, no, that is. That phrase makes a lot more sense now.
It does. So where does Fran take the kids to go shopping for nice attire for their father's business party?
None other than her previous employer.
Why would she want to go right back to the bridal shop that she just got fired from?
Because that's where she can get deals since Val still works there. Or maybe she's trying to stick one over Danny and maybe she's shoplifting and taking all of the dresses for free.
Do you really think she would do that? She seems ethical, though.
Yeah, that's true. She would think about it. She'd
Maybe
mention
she'd think
that,
about
but
it.
then she'd say no.
Okay, so she's going for the sweet deals.
Yes.
Or to stick it to Danny to just say, you know what, I could still come to this shop and shop.
Well, and she probably hit up Val before and was like, "Hey, is he there?" No, all right, cool. Well, then I'm gonna come over and grab some things on discount.
She asks Val, where is he? And she says, oh, well, he's off getting his back waxed. And she says, well, he'll be gone all day. Does he have enough hair on his back to be gone for an entire business day?
I mean, I've never had my back waxed, but it sounds painful and it sounds like it would take a while. Yeah, I would hope to. I never want to go through that experience. I sure hope that never happens.
No.
So,
When she gets to the bridal shop, she shows Val physical pictures of her new job. And I guess this is what they did back in the early 90s is they printed out pictures to show their friends, where now we would show each other over our phone. But I thought that was pretty neat to look back on. She's like, and here's Mr. Sheffield, and here's the mansion, and just flipping through pages and showing her in the bridal shop.
a flashback to what life was like before cell phone.
That's right. Before
Well,
picture phones.
Yeah, I should say before. They had cell phones, but just not the iPhone or the Android that we know today.
That's right. Okay, so the way Fran introduces the kids to Val is Maggie having no personality, Gracie having multiple personalities, and Brighton. Where's Brighton? He is checking to see if the dummy models on display are anatomically correct.
Yeah, can't say
Tisk,
I've done this
tisk.
before, but I guess he's just a curious, 10-year-old?
Yeah, I feel like he's a typical curious 10-year-old boy, right?
He's got a thirst for knowledge.
Thirst for knowledge. That's right. So everybody's just, they have their own thing going on here. Brighton and Maggie get into a fight, to which Fran breaks up the fight by telling Brighton that he should start to get along with his sister, because when his father is old and sick, you'll want him to live with her.
Yeah, that was quite the interesting statement, and I've never thought about that myself, but that was I don't know, that's all I can say. That was quite the phrase from from her.
And it worked because they stopped fighting.
Yes,
So
yeah.
he really must not want Maxwell to live with him.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess he took that to heart. Fran knew how to push his buttons.
I can't believe that. So now we get to the party at the Sheffield residence. And what do you think about having a business party hosted in the living room of your household?
Well, I mean, for him, he's got that sweet mansion, so
Might as well show it off, right?
yeah, and it's cheaper to host it there. So you just got to pay for the catering instead of an actual venue. So
True.
it's being cost effective.
Being cost effective. You don't have to have a place to host your event at. You can host it for free at your house,
Yeah, in your big house.
your big house. So we see Cece at the party, and she's dressed very professionally, and Maxwell leans in and says that she looks handsome tonight.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's just the business suit. It's just,
Looking very handsome tonight.
yeah, with that catch of his hand. So that, yeah.
So Cece is flirting with Maxwell, and Maxwell just replies back that she's handsome, which I think Cece thinks, oh, that's so nice. He called me handsome. But little does she know that his jaw is about to drop when Fran enters the party.
Yes, in this elaborate red dress sure to catch everyone's eye.
Yes, glittery red dress at the top of the
Sequins.
stairs.
So those are sequins.
Yes, sequins. And
Yeah.
she says she borrowed the dress from Miss Long Island.
Oh yes, yeah, from 1989.
Or was it 87 or
It
89?
was 89, and Niall says that was a good year.
A very good year.
I did very quick research. I didn't find much. I was just seeing if that was actually what Miss Long Island wore in 1989.
Oh, did you find anything?
No, but I only spent about less than 5 minutes on the search. So,
Okay.
but
I wonder if that was factual. If anyone knows what Miss Long Island wore, please let us know.
yeah.
So she's walking down the stairs, and then all of a sudden the piano player starts singing this song, Here Comes the Lady in Red. What do you think about that song, that little number?
Yeah, I didn't pick up on this during the actual watching of the episode, but then when looked at the script afterward, I noticed that's what they said. And yeah, I mean it's very telling of well, what is happening in the room at that moment?
Hey, hey, the lady in red.
All the fellas looking at the lady in red.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so, yeah, the song fits well, obviously.
It does.
Or he's just he's improvising.
Maybe he is. Maybe he knew that song.
Well, he just knew the melody and he came up with the words as he saw Fran.
The lady in red.
Yes.
Fran brings the children down to the party after she's done making her grand entrance. And this is when Maxwell says, "You played dirty, Miss Fine." But he allows the children to stay once he sees how nice that Brighton and Gracie look. And then Maggie enters in and she looks just like her mother did, Maxwell says. And she's getting really grown up, and he didn't realize that until now.
Yeah, this is where we start to see maybe she's not just a little girl anymore, and she's starting to try to grow up and find a way for herself. And Max is not wanting to let that little girl grow up yet and let go of her yet, so he's still holding on. But
So it's a big deal.
yeah, that's a very touching moment for him and a little bit of a realization for him, reality check. So, but yeah, she shows up.
She
Yeah.
shows up. And Maxwell allows all the children into the party, but he's still kind of mad at Fran and says that they'll talk about this later. But then it starts to go really well with the children there. So a lot of the investors are asking for pictures with Maxwell and his family. And it seems like that whole family vibe is really great. And this is also where we see Cece start to show jealous vibes of Fran too. So Fran says to Cece, "Oh, couldn't you just drop dead?" Talking about Maxwell and his family and how nice it is that they're all together. And Cece goes, "I don't know. Could you?"
Yeah, I mean, she wants her dead. And then I think also right before this as well is where she also makes her, Fran makes a remark where Emma, her dress, she says with the red dress, "Oh, is my face blushing?"
Is my face red? Or
Yes, yeah, something along those lines. I forget exactly. But then Cece says, "Oh, yeah. Oh, no." She says, "Am I blushing?" And she says, "Oh, now your face is matching the rest of your dress." But this is also where Niles comes in with my personal favorite burn of this episode, where he says, "This is the rapier wit we've come to know from you."
So, since we've gotten to our final and favorite burn, we're going to go into our theme of Naughty Niles and Sassy Cece.
We're gonna keep track of each burn that each of them give to each other throughout the episode. We'll rate them, and then we'll see who wins at the end. But let's get into it.
Is this heaven or is this hell? Maybe sometimes both as well. Naughty nights and sassy CC.
So, I counted 3 burns this go around
10 Hiles and 0.
for Cece.
Yes.
So, we had Niles saying, "I can't wait to see what you'll be mounting next." And that Cece loves to be taken in the library. And there's that rapier wit we've come to count on.
Yes. The third is my favorite. And Niles has 3. Cece has 0. She had none this round. Pretty boring for her. But so clearly Niles is a unanimous victory. So
Yeah, this one is all about Cece kind of picking on Fran or saying things to Fran
right,
instead of
she's
Niles,
more,
which is
yes.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, she's more focused on Fran than she is on Niles and trying to come back against his wit.
At the party, we see Fran walking around and she's very flamboyantly snapping pictures and just kind of being out of her element, as Cece says here at the party, which I think just makes her more personable and different from everybody, which is kind of nice. But at the end of the night, everybody starts to go home. Things went really well, and she collects a check from an investor, and it has 4 zeros on it.
Yeah, so making a 5-figure check, that's a pretty sweet deal. I'm sure Max was very excited about that. It really helps boost his finances for his Broadway shows.
Absolutely.
So,
And he has Fran to thank for that.
Yeah, it was all because of the children bringing them to the party, letting the investors to kind of see not just Max's business side, but also his personal side, so they have kind of a connection there that they can have with Max and better understanding where their money's being put. So
Right.
it was a benefit that Max did not, I think, realize originally. Since he didn't want them there, he thought they would cause trouble, but it actually ended up being a benefactor for him.
That's something that Fran teaches him, that family can still be important. And sometimes it's important to show, even in a business setting, the people you love and invite them to events too. So he takes the check right away from Fran and says, I got to go put this away. He puts it in his office in a drawer there. And when he's going to put his check away, he catches Maggie kissing a waiter from the party. And he gets really upset about this. What'd you think about him catching Maggie and how he reacted?
Yeah, I can imagine if I was a father with a daughter experiencing the first kiss and witnessing it like that, that would be quite quite upsetting. I mean, this is another thing where she's trying to come out and live her life and start experiencing other people, and she's getting to that age now, I think, where she's getting interested in other boys at this point. So that's very, I think, tough for a father to go through, and definitely witnessing that is, I can
Hard.
understand his rage. Maybe not rage, but he's quite upset.
He got really upset.
Yeah, rage is a good word.
Yeah, I think that is a good word because he starts to argue with her and Maggie gets all upset. Eddie walks out and leaves, the waiter she was kissing. And then Fran says, Oh, what happened? And then she realized Maggie had her first kiss and she thinks this is a camera worthy moment, which is the complete opposite of what Maxwell is thinking here. So then Maxwell and Fran don't see eye to eye in this situation. And Fran says Maggie should be celebrated. She's growing up to be a woman and you should just take notice that this is part of her life and you should be happy for her. This should be a moment she remembers and is nice. And then he gets offended and says, well, this is my family. And also, he doesn't want to see his little girl growing up, I think is the bottom line here. So they get into tiff. And then since they disagree with each other, Maxwell says she's fired. And then she says she quits. And then she says, no, you fired me so I can collect unemployment for the second time this episode.
Yeah, she is needing that unemployment money since she's been fired twice now.
Twice. So she leaves. And that's how that scene closes out. And then once she's gone, Maxwell is sitting in his office, really confused about how the night went. And Niles comes in and they have this little discussion and he asks if he overreacted and he kind of just says, I didn't want to lose my little girl. And I think he knows at this point, yes, he overreacted. And Niles brings him a sandwich to which he says it was Fran's idea to have this sandwich, a nosh, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So he goes, oh, Fran, right? And then Niles says, yes, just what you needed in your life. And he says, you're not talking about the sandwich, are you? To Niles.
No, sir, not the sandwich.
So this brings us to our next theme, which is called Dapper Daddy's Dating Debacles for our man, Maxwell Sheffield.
Yeah, and here it is.
Dapper Daddies dating debaccles.
So each episode, we're going to keep track of Maxwell when he's most confused about his feelings for Fran. As you can see here, he was a little confused.
Yes, this is where I think because too, he's getting reacted with Maggie, but then he's also realizing Fran is more, like we just discussed, but is more than someone that I think he needs in his life, and he will come to realize that, and he's not ready to maybe admit that yet, but
Right.
this is his debacle.
Our Dapper Daddy's dating debacle.
Wow.
Wow. We then cut to Sylvia and Morty's apartment, which is rent controlled, we learn, to where the setup, they have a beautiful couch wrapped in plastic and other items wrapped in plastic. What'd you think about all the plastic, first and foremost?
Keeping a tight place, clean place.
Clean.
Very easy to clean.
If you ever want to sell the couch, it'll be in prime condition for
Yeah.
selling.
Oh, I could sell it for more than what I paid for.
No stains, just slides right off.
Yes. Everything. Even me when I sit on it.
So Fran mentions that they're preserving it for the afterlife.
Yes, that's a valid statement. And there's also cover wrap on the lamps as well, I noticed.
See, I've
The-
never heard of that
on the-
before this. I have been to houses where they have plastic on their couch, but not on the lampshade.
Yeah, I saw the lampshade next to the couch had it as well, so they're keeping everything pristine.
All right. Plastic everywhere.
Plastic for the win.
Yep. So we see Sylvia for the first time, and she is a lot like Fran, in which she's wearing a bold outfit too, full of colors. And they are eating chocolates together. And she says to Fran, "Want a Malamar?" And they start eating together. And then we learn about Fran's father, whose name is Morty, and he is deaf and on a pension. And she says to her mom, "Why can't I find a guy like that?" And she says, "Oh, you will." So that's the goal here. Find a guy who's deaf and on a pension.
Yeah, that must be the dream.
Can't hear you. The money's rolling in.
Yeah, I can still hear, so I'm not deaf yet, and I didn't work for the government, so I won't be getting
No
a pension.
pension.
So I'm sorry I can't give that to you.
So now I won't be living the dream.
Yes, I'll have to make do, I guess.
That's okay. You can keep your hearing.
Oh, thank you.
So while they're sitting there, Fran's upset about what happened, but then we hear a knock on the door. And who is it? It is Maxwell Sheffield coming to the apartment.
Mr. Sheffield himself.
Exactly. So he comes in, and Sylvia first offers to make him some Ovaltine. And he says, "Oh, I'm sure I'd love some, but I'm not staying here a while. And there's a mob on my limo." And then we look out the apartment window, and I think they all think that there was like a funeral that happened in the house because it's a limo outside. And that's why there's a mob on top of it, because they're like, "Who died? We have to get into this rent-controlled apartment." Must be really hard to find that around that area.
Yeah, I didn't understand this at first. I didn't realize it was I didn't pick up on the rent control or that it was maxed out from a vacancy standpoint. So that, yeah, I guess they thought this was a limousine that was preceding a funeral. So not just a rich guy's limousine. But
Right.
yeah, so Fran kind of helps alleviate the crowd, saying no one's dead.
No vacancies. She
Yeah.
screams out the window.
Get out of here. Leave.
So then they can continue their conversation after this. And Fran is talking to Maxwell on the couch, and he makes a comment about the plastic on the couch. He's not used to this. But Sylvia can't help but butt in, and she leans in and says, "Put on some blush," to Fran. And Fran just asks to have a moment to herself. But they start talking after this.
Yeah, you got to always look good for a future man.
Put on some blush.
Yeah. Put it on.
I like that. In this moment, it's clear that Fran's already having an effect on the children, because Maxwell tells Fran, Brighton and Maggie are getting along, and it has something to do with where I'm going to live. So we already know that Fran's having an effect over the children at this point.
Yeah, we see that she's able to leave an impression. The kids have not admitted to liking her yet, but I think they are knowing that they are subconsciously.
Yes.
And she is what seems to be the perfect fit as the nanny, which actually is more of a caring role, I think, than probably the previous nannies, since she has this more unconventional take. So
Yeah, I think so. So Max tells Fran that she's unlike anybody that he's ever met before, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And you can tell from here it's intriguing and refreshing to have Fran's perspective in his life. So he asks her to come back, and she asks for an apology, to which he gets a little annoyed at that. And then we end with her saying, "Mom, he wants me back." And then Sylvia's in the kitchen, and then she pops out with a camera and takes a picture of Fran and Max together again. And that's how our first episode ends.
Yeah, it was funny how they had the picture. Sylvia had the picture ready to take it, which Fran mentions that in her real life growing up, they always had camera around to take pictures of all the different moments that they had. So that was reminiscent of her childhood of having the pictures taken everywhere. So
Yes.
that's why they do that there, which I thought was cool. But
I like that a lot. Always ready with a camera.
yeah, that Polaroid picture.
Polaroid moment.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It is the thing. So I thought that was a really great ending to our first episode. And I'm just so happy that Fran got her job back and she gets another chance at being the nanny here.
Yes, will she get fired again?
Tune in to see.
I also noticed the credits that they showed. Sylvia was a guest star at this. So
She's a guest star?
yeah, so they did not, at this point, anticipate her being a main character.
Well, glad she made it. We're going to see if she continues to be a guest star or when she's a recurring character.
Yeah, I don't know when she officially becomes a main character or not, but she wasn't, at least for this episode. So.
Wow. Okay, with that being said, I think we're ready for our recap.
Yes.
Let's put this all together. These moments are forever.
All right, to recap.
Recap.
Fran worked at a bridal shop, was fired, quit, was fired again, cold sales, improv resume, trial hire,
Trial.
helps kids, helps Max,
Lipstick.
CC jealous,
Resume.
fired again,
Unemployment money.
quits, fired again.
More unemployment money.
He wants her back.
He wants her back
Fran's finesse wins
for the win.
for the win.
Friend finds finesse.
Yeah, I just had to throw that in there.
So I also want to recap that Fran had the best outfits and the best confidence of anyone.
Oh yeah, I have to say that watermelon shirt thing was pretty cool. I would wear a male version of that shirt.
Yeah, it was pretty fashionable.
Yeah. It's pretty iconic. I think she wears that later on in the series, and she mentions that was quite the wardrobe item.
Yes. I think she has a lot of her wardrobe pieces still.
Oh, yeah. I probably would too. That was a pretty cool wardrobe they put on her, so.
With that being said, we have come to an end of our first episode, and we look forward to seeing everybody for our next episode because we have episodes every Wednesday.
Yes, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you had fun like we did, and we will see you next week.
That's right. And remember to follow us at A Fine Podcast on all different platforms. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.